Hey everyone, this is Arnold98, and here we have Optimus Prime version 5 from the first 3 Transformers movies. Here's quite a bit of an update from my version 4, which I made back in 2014. That was definitely one of my favorite builds back then, and I didn't think I would find any way to improve on it back then, but 2 years later, and here we have my version 5. Since then, I've learned a lot of new techniques. My builds are getting more and more accurate, and most importantly, there's been a bunch of new parts that came out. Yeah, like what I said in 2018, I think this guy, I don't think I'm going to find any way to update him or make him significantly better. I think he kind of is my definitive Prime, well, probably will be for a while. And yeah, my movie Optimus is my Transformer with the most amount of updates. I guess this shows how much my builds have changed over the years. I'd say he's about 30–40% different than my version 4. He keeps the same overall structure, but I'm added a bunch of details, and more of that is apparent in robot mode. And unfortunately, unlike my other primes, Sentinel is my favorite build as of now. And to start here using his Peterbilt truck mode, I guess it kind of looks better and worse in some spots, unlike robot mode, which is definitely much better. The front is pretty much the same. One thing I added, you can see I made the vane more skinnier and more for robot mode, but I also had lights, mirrors, and the side doors. The other kind of didn't have that. I also filled the gap here. Unfortunately, this area is a lot more inconsistent. This part doesn't even come in blue, which is a shame, but that's fine. And coming into the back, it's still a bit of a mess. I tried to get a consistent backboard going on, and then you can see all this detailing, and there's not much to it. You can see the lower legs have changed, that's why the bottom is different. And as of always, it still rolls really well. And one thing I updated, I know I get a lot of criticism for this, but I've been working to fix it. I gave him slightly larger tires than they were before. I was inspired by what Elijah Olsen did over on Instagram. So it's pretty much small tire here, the same hub, but it uses a motorcycle tire over this, so it creates a slightly bigger tire than what I've been using previously, which is a nice intermediate size between that and what I use for Sentinel or Ironhide's wheels. And once again, he's still compatible with my trailer. That's the armed weapons platform. I made a separate video on that, but I made the tires bigger. They fit right in perfectly without changing anything, and of course the hitch system is still the same. It just goes right into here. Yep, and he still looks good. And spinning him around. And here he is with a minifigure and Ravage. His truck mode size is exactly the same as version 4. And here he is with Ironhide. I know Ironhide's a bit too big. Ratchet. And a new Camaro Bumblebee. And Jazz. And here we have the 2007 crew all together in vehicle mode. They look really good together. Their colors just really pop, and yeah, such an iconic group here. And now for the transformation. As you would expect, it has a lot of elements from the version 4 and a lot of new things too. So first you have to detach the gas tanks here. This is a new bit over here, but first you have to peel these side panels up, or whatever these are. Fold it down like this, and then rotate these back up. And now you can take this entire section and lift it up on this hinge, and then you can fold these up, and then if you want you can just fold these back around like this, and then fold the section in. These will get in the way, so it's best to compact them. Same for the other side. This is a new thing with the fenders too. This little bit will rotate around and fold in, and just lift these two bits up for now, and then now you can fold out the legs. And these panels used to be attached to the back here to end up on the backpack, but now this means the backpack is a bit lighter. And now coming onto the legs, you want to fold these toes down, coming up to this center section here, and split it. It holds the two legs apart. This part goes right into the headlight brick, goes into the stud here, and now you can split the legs. And with this leg here, you want to fold this section back, rotate this around, and then of course you gotta just compact all this inwards, and then you tab this into place. Yeah, this stud will just tab right into up here. I'm gonna take the toolbox here, rotate that, and then make it fill in that hole here, and then bring this panel down. And then next you have to take this whole loose section here, and it's gonna fit perfectly into here. And that took a really long time to figure out. And then to the leg, you can see the wheels aren't straight as all my Optimus versions, but for this version, you just take this section and rotate it forward to make it more aligned, which is really cool. And same for this side. Just rotate this around, and then compact all of this. And this transformation is much smoother than on the version 4. And take the toolbox, fold it inwards, fold this down, shift this up. You can see it's on this hinge in the back. And then rotate this, and then compact this all, and then just put the leg back into position. And then the legs are done. And now you just gotta rotate all this forward, so this is like the front of its waist, and then this little panel here is gonna push to the other side, and setting him up like this. Next you want to take this section, collapse it over here. This will be his chest, and he actually has a matrix inside, but we'll get to that later. But next you have to, just like with the version 4, just gonna wiggle all this down until this section tabs right into that little gap here, nice and securely, like that. And now coming to the front of the truck, this is some very new bits. First you have to lift this whole section out here, and then these little bits here are new also. So you want to rotate this forward, and rotate that, and then just fold this as far back as possible. Coming up to the top here, this is another new bit. This will fold out, and this will fold out too. And just rotate this around, fold this around, and then on this joint, you just want to rotate this like that. And same for the other side. Like that. And then coming up to here, what you want to do is you want to angle the weather vanes ever so slightly, and then take this side door area and rotate this forward on this hinge here, and same for the other side. And now this gives you the clearance to fold this up like that, and just like that. And now you can take this entire front windshield area and fold it all the way up, and then his head coming over to here. Just pull this forward, and then pull this forward too, just ever so slightly, just through the gap here. And then next you want to rotate the arms down. They work in a similar manner as the version 4, but this is a different thing. You just gotta rotate these bits as far up as they can go. These will become his shoulder spike things. It's a bit tricky, but it works pretty well. And now those are out of the way, just fold these back for clearance, and then fold the smokestacks up like this. And now we can rotate the arms. This section is gonna just rotate around, and it's gonna come down and stop because the little block will prevent it from going farther. And same for this side, just like that. And then now you can reset the shoulder spikes, just like this. And same for this side, and just like that. And now you can put the head up, and you can set the matrix chamber and chest in the right position like this. Then take the headlights and kind of straighten them out. They kind of bend inwards because the edges can catch on other parts and make them fall off easily. And then just taking the arms out just like this for now. I'm going to move this section around just like this, rotate all this together, and then fold this up, and this part will align with the fake headlights right there. And same for this side. And this will fold up, and then this will fold back. There you go. And you can actually stand them up right now if you really wanted. But first we're going to deal with the arms. These are 100% almost, they're pretty much identical to the version 4. You rotate these around, shift that, and that's a shoulder pad. And then just rotate this, fold out the hand, and then just want to collapse the elbow into a different configuration. It's kind of weird because the elbows are like one of the few things that have remained from the version 1. I guess they worked really well back then. And they still work well now. And then you want to rotate this blue bit around. And that is one arm. And now for the other one, just want to rotate this around. Fold this, and then collapse the elbow, fold out the hand, and rotate this blue bit. Oops, and just put that back into place. And coming up to the top here, just want to fold the smokestacks back like this. And then in order to get the chest to clear, you have to take these doors and just rotate them like this. And like that. And then you can fold the head back and just pass these through, just like this. And now for the backpack, you just want to take these smokestacks and rotate them around like this. And rotate these, and for stability, just to tab the backpack into place, just like with the version 4, this center hole will go right into this stud right here. Lift that up, and just give it a nice push. There's still that hole you could use for clearance. And then coming into this top section, this will just fold all the way in like that. Now for the front here, you just want to fold these doors back into position. And same for this one. And just to get the head to clear, you want to come up to here. And you want to just take this and slide these as far as possible. And the head can pass right through. And you can just set these out for now. The head has additional transformations in order to make it bigger. It just folds up for clearance, but you can move this back here. And then you can rotate the ears up. Yep, there's the head. Now for the chest. And then you want to get the fake chest from under here. It's exactly the same. Shift it ever so slightly on this. It's on the 1x2 brick, so there's no pin in the middle, so you can shift it. This is also something that has stayed from the version 1, oddly enough. And just fold that like this. And for the other one, just want to reach under here. Rotate this. Just like that, and then fold it down. And then you want to fold all this up. Take the doors, make sure they're like as far back as possible, like that, to give the angled look. And then you can angle these veins a bit more to your liking. And then finally you want to move the head into position, just the center here. And coming up to here, you want to shift this halfway through so it meets with the neck, I guess. Like that, and like this. And then you can, the fake chest will slide over this center portion, whatever chest you decide to use. And fold that door back, just like that. And finally the backpack. This isn't too bad. And first you want to move on this ball joint, move this plate into position. And fold this back, and then it's going to fold again on this hinge over here. Not all the way down, but this is actually going to rotate like this, fold up like that, and then this is all gonna just collapse together. Just shift that out a little bit, there you go, and fold this, and then you can fold this back. That's one part of the backpack, and same for the other. Shift this and fold this upwards too. And these two sections will kind of meet in the middle with some rearranging, I guess. There you go. And that should be it for Prime. Just standing him up, which is pretty easy. Finally, here we have Optimus Prime version 5 in his robot mode. This is clearly where he shines much better than the version 4. You see a lot of more details up here. There's a lot of stuff. Most importantly, he has a bigger head. I've been using that tiny head for quite some time, and it's about time for a change. Even though it barely fits, but it looks pretty respectable. And yeah, a bunch of little details. I added the doors on his chest. The little vein things can angle, and then he has the dark and moon abs. You can switch that out later, the fake lights, and I add the little panels going in to make him better. And I guess it's a little subtle thing, but it matters a lot to me, which makes him so much better, is that his shoulders are farther apart and they're a little bit higher relative to the head. And I did that without changing too much of the transformation, and I think that looks really good. He has the vein things, which is much better, whatever these stack things are. Arms are the same, and then coming to the backpack, it's a lot flatter actually. One of the key factors for that was there used to be like an armature running through here that would hold the vein in place, which is a different piece. With that removed, you can put the backpack a lot flatter, and which is cool. The backpack is more accurate. For some reason I was following what the NPM did for my version 4. Even though it's still big, but I think it's good. It's much better. One thing you notice is that he used to have these gold things in Sentinel Prime's video. I took them out, even though it's more accurate, but it really hindered his articulation. And there's more detail in the thighs. The new lower legs are really good. He even has that circle thing, which is actually the back of the panel here. And then the fenders, and his feet are exactly the same. It's a little on the weak side, but I'm happy with that. And his articulation is pretty much the same as the version 4. It's still pretty excellent. You can rotate the head, you can look up and kind of down, I guess. His shoulders, you can try to open them. You can't really fold. You need to fold out the shoulder pads to get him to do that. But he also has an additional joint for transformation that you can kind of use, I guess. And then he has a double elbow bend as his previous versions do. And then this is his actual elbow, and then a little bicep swivel here. And then his hands can move a little bit on this ball joint, and the fingers articulate. And I still kept the waist swivel. That's one of my favorite little bits. That you could kind of do a full 360. Yeah. And then his thighs are very good at going forward. Unfortunately, there's not much of a spread, which is kind of a limitation from my earlier designs too. Knee bend, and then of course he has a really good ankle pivot. And he can still stand on one foot as always. And giving him a quick 360. And now for his features, this is the most important one. I've never been able to get this on my previous primes, but yeah, if you take the chest and you angle these outwards, I know transformation kind of spoiled it, and then you take his chest plate and then you rotate this around, all the way around, and it reveals his matrix. I think this is really cool. I love how it stays in pretty well during transformation too. And as an added bonus, you can always remove it. It's a bit fragile. It uses two tooth pieces connected by a clip, so these can come off with little force, but luckily the transformation doesn't have anything touch these, which is perfect. And of course he can hold it in his hand or have it be forcefully taken from him. And though it never happened in the movie, Sentinel actually has some hollow space in there due to transformation, so you can kind of just stash the matrix in there and just close everything up. It's not perfect, but it works. And of course you can switch out his Dark of the Moon abs or his Revenge of the Fallen first movie ones. Just need it on this little joint here. Just gonna pluck this off. As you see, I use a roller skate pieces, which was really neat. And then coming here with his other abs and put these back here. And then it folds up just like that, and then you can just slide the chest pieces in. Yeah, there you go. I actually kind of like this look for him better than the Dark of the Moon one. Of course, he still has a truckload of weapons. All these are exactly the same. Nothing has changed from version 4. We have his battle blades, barrage cannons, battle hooks, handheld energon sword, energon axe, brass knuckle shield, ion blaster, and finally his trailer transformed into its armed weapons platform mode. It can easily hold all its weapons, and I made a separate video on that once again. And now for size comparisons, he's almost exactly the same height as version 4. He's actually a plate taller, which doesn't really make a difference, but here he is with the minifigure and Ravage. The hunt for the Decepticons and Studio Series Voyagers, and Revenge of the Fallen Megatron and the Fallen, and Dark of the Moon Sentinel Prime and Shockwave, and I really outdated Last Night Prime. Don't worry, I plan to update him sometime in the future. And finally, here we have Prime with the other 2007 Autobots again, Ratchet, Ironhide, Bumblebee, and Jazz. And once again, they look amazing together. Not only that, but each build individually is really good. Yeah, and that is the end of this video. I'm very happy how version 5 turned out compared to version 4. The only thing version 4 is better at than version 5 is just the truck mode has less gaps and panels and stuff, which I'm fine with that because this robot mode is pretty spot on. Unfortunately, I still think Sentinel is the better of my LEGO Transformers, since he's closer to the CGI model and he wasn't based heavily off of a previous build I've made. So yeah, but I still like him. Prime version 5 is still very posable and fun and easy to transform as version 4. And yeah, that should be it for this video. Once again, I'll have the studio file in the Google Drive soon. I haven't finished it up yet. And yeah, I really don't see how I can improve on this guy anymore. I know his proportions are slightly off, but that doesn't really bother me anymore. And yeah, maybe you'll see a version 6 in like 2022 or however far my builds ever go. But yeah, that should be it. Another thing is Prime's still missing some accessories, like a few other ones, but I'll get to one of them soon in the next video, really soon.